This is another Yeah, really. We're going to talk about types of disagreements. Um, since yesterday's episodes, a lot of people have said a lot of different things to me on Twitter, and um, I want to talk about the way in which people disagree about things because I think understanding that can help a lot of people voice their opinions. And it also helps someone who has opinions ignore a lot of people with bad opinions or sort of look at them and see what they're doing wrong. If you're watching this on Twitch, I apologize for any issues with the stream. There's currently a connection issue between me and Twitch, and I'm gonna try and get it sorted out, but it's a weird problem. Anyway, this will be on YouTube, so if you're watching on YouTube, hi, it's me from the past. Let's get started. So, if you're gonna disagree with someone about something, you're really talking about your beliefs, right? Let's say that I believe that when you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you should have twice as much peanut butter as jelly. And you disagree about that. So I have a belief, and you disagree with that belief. But what's really happening is that my belief, and belief is something that happens up here, it's some sort of cognitive process. My belief is being expressed as a proposition. And fair warning, this is going to get a little philosophical. Basically, a proposition is it's sort of a way that a sentence works. It's a statement that expresses some sort of value, positive or negative, or like about something. So in this case, the proposition would be that the ideal peanut butter and jelly sandwich has twice as much peanut butter as it does jelly. And people can disagree or agree with that. If someone says something that you disagree with and they didn't explicitly state a proposition, then you have to be disagreeing with some sort of implied proposition. Proxy Damage, who's a friend of mine and has really bad jokes, actually a lot of people said this, they said, I disagree with this podcast. Now, no you don't, you're trolling. But second of all, what that really means is that I disagree with some sort of implied proposition by the fact that you're doing this podcast. So like, it's okay to talk about disagreement, maybe, is the proposition he was disagreeing with. I don't really know. I don't think he actually believed that, so it makes things a little bit weird. But, like, you have to disagree with a proposition or agree with a proposition. If you don't consciously see one, it's there, it's just implied or hidden or something. Now, different propositions work in different ways. Some of them have truth value, and some of them don't. And truth value is like, it's a proposition that is in some way referencing reality. So, the proposition 2 plus 2 is 4 references mathematics and is true because in mathematics 2 plus 2 is 4. Like, that's a thing that exists in the world. The proposition references that and is correct. If I said something like, I'm not bald, that would be a proposition that references reality but is correct. This can get a little complicated, and that goes into philosophy of language. There's one argument from, I think it's Bertrand Russell, who says the present king of France is bald. And you can argue whether or not that's wrong or meaningless. Now, it gets a little confusing because basically there is no king of France. So how can he be bald? So either it's saying that there is a king of France, and then you would be disagreeing with that, or like that specifically would be wrong. It gets complicated. But let's keep it simple. Some propositions have truth value, which means that they like reference something in reality, and if they're right about that, they're correct, they're true. If they're wrong about it, they're false. Now, some of those propositions with truth value still have it, but it's inaccessible. What's a good example of this? It sort of goes to things that, like, we don't really know yet. I don't know, like, the most effective soul build will be blah, 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 blah. Well, there is a truth value to that. There will be a most effective soul build, depending on, like, or the soul build that gets the most average kills per game will be this. There's truth value there, right? Like, it's referencing something in the world that can be true or false, but we can't access it. We don't know whether or not it's true or false yet. For in that case, yet, like, eventually that's something that could be accessed, but also potentially never, in some other circumstances. That examples are escaping me, but I don't think this is too difficult to grasp. So basically, uh, let's just go over this. This is just sort of like defining our words here. Disagreements are about beliefs. Beliefs are voiced as propositions. People agree or disagree with propositions, or maybe they don't care. Some propositions have truth value. They reference reality in either true or false. Some of them have truth value, but we can't prove them right or wrong because we can't access that. Cool. So let's talk about why you would agree or disagree with someone. Um, First reason that you might agree or disagree with someone is maybe the disagreement is caused because one person is wrong or misinformed. So, like, if I say um I'm bald, or if I say I'm not bald and you say no, Kret, you're bald, right? I'm wrong. I'm just wrong. And this is sort of tied to truth value. Now, in that case, it's denial or something like that, but, like, I am saying something that is objectively wrong, and the universe will tell me I'm wrong if I go and check. In some cases, it could be that I'm misinformed. I don't fully understand what's going on, or I've gotten bad information or something like that. That can certainly happen. Um, there was a case of that in some SPL cast recently. I forget what it was. Um, right, but either way, that's one type of disagreement, right? Where someone has made a mistake or they're misinformed, but what they're saying is wrong. Either their agreement or disagreement with some proposition, that proposition is false, they think it's true, or that proposition is true, they think it's false, they're just wrong. That's one way that people disagree with each other. A second way that people disagree with each other, and I think this is the most annoying, is when people just don't get it, when they misunderstand it. So, and I'm going to talk about a YouTube comment. Now, maybe this guy was trolling, maybe he wasn't. There's this idea called Poe's Law, which is without some sort of tell, online parody is a good parody of something online is indistinguishable from the real thing. So, you know, if you're parodying if you're parodying stuff F dot says, right? And you don't tell me that it's a parody, I might just think that you agree with him. I have no way of distinguishing that without knowing more than just that simple, like, interaction. But either way, what he said was, and this is in reference to my video 2 days ago, he said, by your logic, talking about triggering is something that really upsets me, and by your logic, you have to delete this video. And no, man, you misunderstand. I said, you should talk about things and warn people what you're talking about. And my video clearly says it is about triggering, so I've satisfied that. He misunderstood. Or maybe he was trolling. I guess that's a different kind of disagreement, right? When someone doesn't actually disagree with you, they're just sort of fucking around. Yeah. Let's talk about the third type, though, and I think this is perhaps the most time-consuming type of disagreement. Differing intuitions. Now, an intuition is a person's predisposition to believe something. When I was in college, I saw two people. I was at a party, and two people were having a political discussion, which is a horrible thing to do at a party. One of them was saying that they both were like, listen, and they agreed on this. They said, the wealth disparity between the rich and the poor in the United States is too wide. They both agreed that. But one of them said that it was better to go to rich people and redistribute their wealth than it was to keep the wealth disparity. The other person says it was better to keep the wealth disparity than it was to go to the rich people and redistribute their wealth. Their base intuitions on what is right and wrong relative to that situation were just different, and they will never agree because they believe different things, and those things don't have truth values. It's just a moral judgment call, and they look at it and they think different things and they have different opinions. Those are differing intuitions. That's like that's a lot of what a lot of disagreements come down to. Me and Tom had a disagreement on really a few weeks ago where we were talking about Gold Fury Secure, and I think it's bullshit that there's no like very easily confirmed objective secure that no one else can beat out of sheer luck, and he thinks that's fine. And we just sort of have a differing intuition about that, and arguments about like what would be better for the game. Well, maybe something would be better for the game. Maybe something would result in Smite being more successful than the other thing, but we can't access that. So whether or not it's true, it doesn't matter because we can't go and check. So when you look at what someone's saying, if you can figure out why you actually disagree with them, that's really helpful. But it's also important to look precisely at what someone is saying. And I'm gonna reference a discussion that I had with Shewaz on Twitter last night. I said that if you look at the amount of money made as an 8th place SPL team versus the time spent playing all 28 SPL matches in a season, you're making around $70 an hour. He said you have to factor in scrims. Now, the reason that we disagreed was really kind of a misunderstanding, right? He was looking at what I was saying and putting it in a larger context, whereas I was attempting to keep it simple and just saying, if you look at this and this, you get this. And so after further discussion, we sort of came to the point where, yeah, we agreed about a lot of things, but at the base level, that misunderstanding was created, or that disagreement was created by just sort of not looking at things the same way, not really understanding what each other were saying. So in the end, we basically agreed. Why the fuck were we arguing? It wasn't a case where one of us was misinformed. Now, if someone said that if you add up all of the scrim time with the match time, and you like divide that, it's less than minimum wage, that would be a case of being wrong and misinformed, right? Because like $4,000 over 10 weeks, you'd need to do 40 hours a week of scrims and matches, and by my knowledge, SPL players don't do that. They do about 20, which is still not saying it's not hard work, but it's also not minimum wage. It's about $18 to $20 an hour. So that would be a case of being wrong or misinformed. Differing intuitions is just sort of disagreeing about different things, right? Like at a basic foundational level, you just see the world differently. And when you realize that that an argument or a disagreement comes down to that, you just gotta respect the other person and let it go. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you think their intuition was shitty, and you should tell them that, but they're probably not gonna change their mind. That's all I have to talk about on this topic. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, let's talk about it. Hell yeah.